Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
Welcome into the Box Seats with Alex B. Smith and Bob Sullivan here on latenightsportsradio.com. If you want to call in, call number is 585-633-7487. Alex, how are you doing tonight?
You're doing all right. It's Wednesday night. Got Final Four coming up on the way. We got baseball on the horizon starting up in about less than a week. So it's nice to finally be at the end of March and now at the beginning of going into April and springtime. It's nice.
Yeah, it's a good time of year. Unfortunately, there is a lot of we're going to be dealing with some rain here. Other than that, should be hopefully it's not too hot in the summer with how warm we've had it so far in the spring. But that's beyond the point. With the looking at the NCAA tournament so far, how did you fare in the first? Is it 4 rounds now that we've gone through? How did you fare?
Yeah. Pretty well, actually. I kept my betting to a minimum as I've been doing all year with basketball. I actually had more wins with the lesser tournaments, the NIT and the CBIs and so forth. But I did well. I did lose. I had Kansas on Saturday, laying the 2 points. I was shocked that Kansas just completely, there was a no-show in that Elite Eight game against Villanova. And but other than that, I've done pretty well. How about yourself?
Absolutely atrocious, actually. I got day one of the tournament. We haven't talked in a couple weeks, but day one of the tournament, I was, I put down a few bucks on Kentucky to throughout the in-game wagers, and it was I think there was 4 minutes left, and I put a few bucks on them to cover a 27.5 point spread in the last 4 minutes. And it took free throws at the end of the game to get it to 28, and I won. And I was like, all right, I got to ride this feeling. And I felt good. And so then I was just like, you know what? These in-game bets, these are going to be good. This is how I'm going to win my money this NCAA tournament. Put a few bucks on Seton Hall. Putting a few bucks on money lines late in games or at halftime of kind of a borderline blowout, I thought was a good investment. Okay, well, if this hits, then I'm going to make some money. Not thinking that, okay, well, I'm not going to win. I was just, feeling the high from the Kentucky one, and then there was a few others that I was feeling good about, and I just completely imploded betting wise in the last week and a half. So, newsflash: don't be taking my advice on in-game bets.
Well, it's interesting too because a lot of people were concerned about in-game wagering in second halves when they first started kind of coming about as we see more and more books now, and even in Vegas now with the phone apps and so forth introducing this in-game wagering. And we always talk about responsible gambling, and it seems as if in-game wagering kind of always would feed those the gambling addictions of many, because they want to have more action on it, and the money they've already put. One thing to bet one game and you have to wait it out, but now you have the opportunity to keep betting throughout a whole game, and it could cause us some trouble. But it's just, you just have to monitor it, like everything else. And I always stress never, second half wagering when you're not watching a game live.
Yeah,
that you can do that. It's not the worst. It's not the worst idea if you already have numbers set up. But if you're doing live wagering, you got to be watching the whole event because you can go off your numbers, but you have to really have a good feel of what you're looking at before making an in-game wager. I don't do a lot of live wagers much, and if I do, they're usually football or a couple of times in hockey. I've made a few in-game wagers, but it's something that I try to kind of avoid away from. I like to do my homework beforehand and just kind of roll out with the game.
I find it made a lot more. Well, the NCAA tournament, the first 2 days are fun, but I found it lose a ton of. I lost money, but I didn't lose a ton of money.
Yeah.
I wasn't putting $5,000 on anything in live wagering, but it just makes the end of the game that much more fun. It's like, all right, come on, you got to cover a 32.5 point spread or something like that with that in-game betting. With this Vegas 16, I think they kind of screwed it up. Now that with they might not have had the teams want to do it, but they got to get like a what do you call it, a kind of a piece like an iPad basically at every chair or every seat in the arena, and you can just sit there on that iPad like you're at a horse race or something like that, and just bet throughout that game, and kind of use it as a test market for like in the NBA when they want, how they want to invest in sports gambling. I think that would be a good test market to do something like that at Mandalay Bay.
Well, yeah,
that, right?
and it's interesting. It's interesting because I haven't talked to anyone about it, and I wondered if those games were off the board at the Mandalay Bay. I don't know if that's a stipulation. I don't think that is the case because I know a lot of the if you look at a lot of the conference tournament games that were in Vegas, some were played at the Orleans. I know the MGM Grand. They have their arena where they play the Gardner. MGM Grand Gardner Arena was where the Pac-12 tournament was, and they're going to be leaving next year. But so it's interesting. Yeah. So I don't know how that worked out with the Mandalay Bay. But I know that I watched. In fact, I faded Northern Illinois in their game against UC Santa Barbara, and Santa Barbara covered the that number at 5.5. And I'm watching. I'm like, wow, there's no one there at all. Like this is just kind of it seems like just a waste of time for pretty much everyone involved. I mean, the teams get to play more basketball and they get more practice time, but teams didn't really look that interested playing in this tournament. And that's always something to look at when you're betting on these teams, in tournaments and so forth. How interested, how motivated are they? And it seems like it's just a complete failure all around. I don't think we're going to see this tournament return again for sure, even if it is 8 teams or however few. It was a good idea at the time, but it's just, if you really think about it, I think we've come to a point where we have a little too many college basketball you don't want the tournament time to get oversaturated the way that bowl season has in college football.
Well, and the Vegas 16, I didn't know was going to be representative of how many people were at the games because there was probably less than 16 people at the games, including media. And yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, hemorrhaging money for this event. Like, it would be one thing if you could get like some crappy teams that have a fan base to go, but even then, I mean, college basketball is just not that. It's fine sport, but when you get down to lower Division I, it's pretty crappy basketball. And nobody wants to watch that on TV or in person.
Yeah, I agree. It's and obviously, like we said, having money on the games will make it a lot more interesting, obviously. But like you said, it changes the dynamics to the point where you don't want to really risk your money on anything involving it. So,
well, looking at the Final Four, you got Syracuse, North Carolina, got Villanova versus Oklahoma. Villanova, a team that I did not think was going to get to this point. Syracuse, I had losing in the first round. And are you buying into any momentum from Syracuse, or do you think they're kind of running into a little bit of a buzzsaw right now in North Carolina?
Well, I mean, you look at Syracuse; they're playing with house money. Like I said, we all wondered whether this team should even be in the tournament. They get there, they do a pretty good job of dispatching Dayton in the first round. They were lucky to not have to play Michigan State and have instead Middle Tennessee, who was coming off their biggest win ever. So they were able to make short work of the Blue Raiders. Then they get Gonzaga, and Gonzaga choked in that game. That same way that Virginia choked in their game. Virginia had a 16-point lead, and but like I said, Syracuse just kind of just rolling, with the punches. So they're definitely using their momentum to the best of their ability right now. But you look at North Carolina and how good they've been. I thought North Carolina, I had them out losing to Indiana, and I was way off in that game. And they destroyed Indiana. They've destroyed pretty much everybody they've ran through in the last 2 weeks. So yeah, I think Syracuse, they're going to be energetic and they're going to give North Carolina a tough game. But I really don't see anybody stopping this Tar Heel team right now.
In the if there was a slight risky, would you put any money on would it be worth it to put anything on Syracuse to win it all? Any amount of money?
I mean, no, it's not a wager I would make, to be honest. It pays out well at, I think last when I opened at 12-1 odds still for them to win, which they're a 9.5-point underdog against North Carolina. So if I felt that Syracuse was going to win the title, I might throw some money on it, but it's not that good of a wager right now. If anything, just bet that game, take the points with the game Saturday and then just roll it back over on Monday.
Looking at the Villanova Oklahoma game, I want Buddy Hield to get a national title. Best player deserves national title under his belt. What do you see from this game right now?
It's good. This is going to be, obviously, that in my opinion, I feel like this is going to be the closest of the two games. And you look at Villanova, they do playing well, and they're a bigger team. And Oklahoma, the one concern was that they are so reliant on Buddy Hield and so reliant on shooting, especially from the perimeter, that you would wonder, okay, if they have one game where they cool off, they're going to be in trouble. They could, as they're playing, tougher teams, but they've gotten stronger, in my opinion, from a game-by-game basis. Like I said, their toughest games really were in the first two rounds. They played Cal State Bakersfield. It was a great defensive team that a lot of people don't know about. And they were able to pretty much dominate that game wire to wire. VCU made it a close battle, but once again, Oklahoma's hot shooting at the end down the stretch. And then the teams that we thought could give them a push in Texas A&M and Oregon, they looked even sharper there. So, like I said, the concern is if they have a cold game, and this is something you have to worry about too with these Final Four, and some Sweet 16 Elite 8 matchups as well, though. But they're playing in these giant football stadiums now, so this is a different atmosphere. And when you're shooting the ball, the backdrops are a lot different. So, the question with Oklahoma is that if they aren't shooting, seeing the ball well, seeing the rim well, then maybe they start struggling down the stretch. Villanova can make it more of an inside game, so it's gonna be a tough spot. And I wouldn't be shocked to see either one of these teams, pull it out late. I think this game's gonna go down to the wire.
Have you seen any odds or anything that you like this weekend that you've seen for either game?
No, nothing's really stuck out too much. Like I said, two things I have looked at are the totals of this game, and that's for the reasons I just mentioned about sight lines and shooting and playing in such a completely different atmosphere. Now, Syracuse, I would say, would probably be used to this more than anybody because of playing in the Carrier Dome, which is a massive facility. They wouldn't be as shell-shocked as any of the other three teams. And, obviously it's not going to be an issue of playing in the neutral site area. All four, these are four big programs that have played in neutral arenas outside of tournament time. But that's something I'll be looking at. And you talk about in-game wagering. that's something to keep an eye on. If you see teams that both teams start to struggle shooting early in either game, then you might want to start, looking at maybe putting some money on under the totals, because we've seen a lot of high scoring games, especially with a team like North Carolina. So the public might overreact and want to bet over, and the under might be the brighter choice.
Is there, obviously the Final Four has not been, a lot of people probably didn't have this exact Final Four. Is there anything that you've seen from any of these teams that would lean one way or another as far as other than Carolina winning?
No, I mean, well, like I said, anybody has a chance in this, honestly. It would be interesting if Oklahoma, were to beat Villanova and then play North Carolina. I really think that, because North Carolina's defense has really stepped up too. I think that would be a blowout possibly in North Carolina's favor, as opposed to where Villanova, a bigger team, kind of more inside team, I think they would be able to kind of push North Carolina close. But right now, like I said, the momentum is really with the Tar Heels and the way that they've been shooting the ball. They haven't cooled off in any way, but like I said, their defense is also protecting them. And like I said, just they're playing great all-around basketball right now.
If there was a prop bet out there for if Carolina wins the national title and Roy Williams retires before the next season starts, would you take a bet on that?
I don't know.
It's kind of like the one for the Super Bowl. Peyton Manning wins, retires, and then...
Or the Spurs win and Duncan retires. I remember seeing that.
Would you take a bet? Because I haven't looked at it, but I would have to bet that there's something out there for him. Because he's got to be getting out. He's got to get out. I mean, obviously that bet's more likely to happen Monday night or Sunday night coming out. But you got to think with all the infractions that are probably coming their way with the academic fraud and whatnot, you would have to think that there's a chance that he's going to be getting out of Dodge, and his health is failing him.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough spot, but it's just one of those things where it's just oh wait, sorry about that. I just had my complete screen went blank.
Oh, you're good. All right. We'll go ahead and take a quick break here on the box seats, and we'll come back. We'll talk some more college basketball and talk some potentially NIT CBI type of games here on LateNightSportsRadio.com.
Me Thank